Brianna, and I am playing along with 3 things today. The first is Stamp It Like It's Hot, where we get out our stamps and we use a prompt each month. This is our 2nd month, and this is borders. And I will show you what I'm going to do with that in a second. The second one I am doing is Off the Board with Pineapple Papers. And at the beginning, I would have shown you the title. And I'm a little bit excited because I don't know if other people grab things off their Pinterest boards for titles. But that is what I am doing today, because the third thing I am doing is taking one of those sketches from last month from 30 Days of Sketches with Chrissy's Beautiful Life. I can have the playlist link below. Know that that was the 30 days for June, and we're now in July, but you can certainly still make some layouts from those sketches. There's a playlist to follow to see what everybody did last month. There's probably still people adding. I'll add mine, and this is going to be lots of fun. So I have 3 photos of my daughters. I did have a layout a couple days ago where I used pictures of when they were at the Willis Tower in Chicago. This is my sweet Meredith, this is my sweet Jillian, and this is my sweet Eliza, but Meredith's a little bit afraid of heights, so that's why the look of terror on her face. And so I've got this Echo Park papers, Just Be You, and it's got to have a year on it, which I didn't look at it ahead of time, but the year is, if I can read it upside down with my contacts in, I guess I can't, would be 2016. And I've already picked out some papers. This white is what I'm going to stamp on. In the sketch, you can see there are those round circles and the little 3x4 photos, and then the strips. So one of those strips I'm going to stamp on. This is going to be my background paper. I thought with them being high up in the air, it was kind of cute to use the air balloons. You won't see a lot of that. That's going to be in the corner. And then I have this blue floral to layer in there. This will be the white strip. And then as far as my stamps go, I grabbed the stamps that were closest to my desk. I have a lot of close to my heart. I have a lot of close to my heart stamps that are years old. And rather than flipping through all of those, I found several that I have in kind of my favorites bin next to my desk. Not that the close to my heart are all my favorites, so it's hard to, they're on a shelf. So we have this, I think I might have gotten this from Amazon, but I'm going to use, I don't know if you can see this. It says this way on this arrow. It has an arrow here, and then it kind of has a chevron here. I'm going to use those 3. And what I did was I pulled them out ahead of time, and I laid them here on this block. And you can see I don't always clean my block. That's okay. These are kind of a placeholder right now. The 4th one came from Delusions, actually. Dialogue clear stamps from Ranger, and it's this right here, this little strip of arrows. And actually, look, there's another, it's almost like a tire thread, but it could be like kind of chevron here too. And I've got that over my black. Now I'm using these as a backup. This might be a filler, but you can see these are Ellie's Studio, and I love, love, love her stamps. Not just this set, but all of them. Here are 1, 2, 3 little arrows that if I need little fillers for, those are going to work for me. But I'm going to start off with these and see how I do. I grabbed out my Distress Oxides. I have a lot of these in different colors. So I was able to choose 3 different ones. I don't have a green that matched close enough, and that's okay. And the blue isn't going to be quite as dark, but that's okay too. This gives me a good range of colors. And actually I have a green. It's the darker green in here, but I wanted that. I wanted to find this lighter green. My Catherine Pooler regular inks are much more juicy. I'm going to see how these Distress Oxide ones go. It might be more subtle, and that might be what I'm really looking for today. And with arrows, I might not use all of these. I might use different combinations. We'll see. And you know what? If I need another arrow, I bet I can go looking in my close to my heart and find more. The other thing I'm going to do is I went looking for a piece of paper to cut out the circles that you see, and I think I'm going to try cutting like an arrow instead of the circle. We'll see how well that works out. I made it 9.5 inches, I think, and I'm not exactly sure how to estimate, where's a picture, to go in the corner so that it comes around this picture. So this is what I'm going to try with. I like the colors and the way it goes with this. You're only going to see a little bit. If this goes awry, I will grab a different sheet of paper, and then based on this arrow, I will know to make mine bigger or smaller, if that makes sense. So this is what we got. This is what we have started to work with, and let's get scrapping. I forgot to tell you the sketch is by Jen Miller, exclusively for Chrissy's Beautiful Life and her 30 Days of Sketches. So I take out this hot air balloon paper because I really feel like, you know, they're up on the Willis Tower, it's looking over the city, it's high up, and when else would I use hot air balloon paper? So it's my theme for this paper, and I really like the colors. So I meticulously, if that is that possible in scrapbooking, cut that corner. And I know it's bigger than the sketch, but I really wanted the look of the air balloons, and so then I just made it easy, flipped it over up on the top corner and trimmed it so that the balloons are still going the right direction, and I have a corner and I don't have to mess with measuring corners. And I know I can cover some of that balloons up on either side too to make it smaller. So again, to make it easy for myself, I take this floral paper and I just cut an inch strip, knowing that it's gonna overlap, but I don't have to do any measuring. I'm just gonna glue it there and then I can trim it off. And I do the same thing for both sides. And at first I just lay it there because I know that I'm going to stamp the white pieces, and I'm going to make sure the arrows fit correctly as the circles in there. And I just want to make sure everything is fits. So I don't glue anything down. Well, I don't think I glue anything down yet. So I just make these two, and these are 1.5 strips that I'm going to stamp on. And I get out those arrow stamps. And see, this is where I'm like, what do you think? Does it look? Is it gonna work? Am I making a mistake? It looks okay. It should work. And there go the arrows, just to make sure. And any part of it could have been changed at that point. The strips, the arrows. But I do kind of lay it down and decide that looks about right, knowing that things are going to move around a little bit. So I take the white pieces of paper out, and then I get my Tim Holtz mat out, and I should have pushed it up higher so you guys could really see all this. Instead, you get a good look at all of my inks. So I use my Distress Oxide inks. Now, I don't know if I should tell you this now or later, but I do a very good, and this is where me saying, yep, I like the Distress Oxide stamps, these are going to work. And so I worked really hard to be random, and I think, I've done this before, it's been years, but I have done the kind of randomness of a pattern behind, on paper like this, so I feel comfortable with this. But when I get it done, I really think I should have stuck to one color. And this turns out fine, and actually when this gets glued down, you're not going to see a lot of it. It's going to hide behind those pictures. But because I am critical of myself, if I had to do this over again, I think I would have picked that coral color and taken the stamps and just stamped them all in coral. And the fun part of that is when you're doing one color, you can put all the arrows on, line them up on a block, and just kind of rotate the block when you're stamping it. And so then you're not doing one stamp at a time. If you have questions about that, please leave them below. This is a great way to make a patterned paper, or and you don't have to do the whole paper. You can just do a strip. And there's no rules or regulations to this. I kind of just put some, and I should have probably been stamping randomly with each on both strips, because it's a little bit more work to go back and then do the other ones on the bottom strip after the first one is done. And I realized my mistake after part of the first one was done. So I'm catching up on the bottom, and then I'll go back to the top as well. And then I'm going to cut this out because you don't need to watch me stamp. I think you get the gist. There you go. There's my 2 strips. So then I bring my page back and I start working up the placement again. I do think about moving the air balloons, making it smaller. But in the end, I decided just to go with it. And then I overlapped that blue floral piece over the top of the green triangle so that it didn't go so far onto the page. So it gives me more room in the middle for my pictures and the arrows. And then I take my ATG and I glue that down. And by going right over the edge there, or overlapping it, I can get both sides exactly the same again. And it makes it easy, so I'm not trying to measure things, especially when it comes to triangles. Why are triangles so hard? Okay, so then I do go ahead and I get more glue on so that I can trim down the overlapping pieces. And I cut some of that out so that you don't have to watch me trim off all the pieces. The stamped part goes next, and this is where it's kind of busy. And it's not bad, but I would just do it in coral next time. I think it would be fine. I don't discourage you from doing the random stamping, because on different layouts this would work. This would be, obviously it works really well. It's just my taste for this layout and all the other colors that are going on already on those papers. And that one gets just tucked down under the blue just a little bit. And then I repeat the same thing on the other side. And then I have to trim the whites off, the overlapping pieces, with my favorite Tim Holtz scissors. I've tried many different scissors, and this one is serrated and it is absolute my favorite. Normally I would not pick up my scissors to trim off these white spots or white strips, but I love this scissors. That's all I can say. It's a joy to use. Now everyone, I'm sure, does not feel the same way. Like you have to try out a scissors. I know different people like different scissors, and it all depends on how it feels in your hand. So if there's any way to try out a scissors before you buy one, that would be the way to go. So there is my base, and then I again put the arrows down, and then I'm going to tuck those pictures in, and I'm paying attention. I think I want to push, there you go. I'm paying attention to how much I overlap the paper, because in the sketch she really didn't overlap that middle strip much at all, and that's where I did my stamping. Mine, because of the way it all ends up, does overlap some, and that is okay. It's just like mixed media. You're gonna cover up stuff. It's just the way it goes. But the other thing I wanted to point out is how we buy so much paper, right? You have to buy paper packs and paper pads and single papers. On the pages, on my completed pages, I don't feel like I've used very much paper at all. Now, of course, you're going to use that 12 by 12, and oftentimes it is that white sheet of cardstock or a black sheet of cardstock for me. But here it is, a pattern paper. But I use just so little of all those other papers. It's just incredible. I go to the sticker sheet and I try to tuck that dream catcher in there, but it just was a little too big, and I don't end up using that. But I have 2 hot air balloon stickers, so I do place those on either side on the bottom, and then I decide to use that dream catcher up on top, which works better, covering off some of the joints of the windows up there. But there I'm showing you my title, which is from the Pinterest pin, and here's my completed layout. Thank you to all my subscribers. I'm so excited. I'm getting so close to 500. I can't wait to hit that milestone. Check out below and you'll see everyone that's playing along with Off the Board with Pineapple Papers, as well as the link to the 30 Days of Sketches. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon for another video.